With Hal Scott, Emeritus Professor at Harvard Law School, Director of the Committee on Capital Markets Regulation. Hal Scott, it's been a while. I can't say that I'm thrilled to see you, because only during crises, but I am glad to see you. You're very kind to come on the show. We appreciate it. And I think your principal point in the Wall Street Journal today was, where was the Fed's lending through the discount window, which is another late-to-the-party operation. Tell us some more, please.
Yes, Larry. So, in my view, the Fed should have been on top of this situation. I assume that the president of SVB was in touch with them, telling them what the situation was. And he should have been willing, and the Fed should have been willing to accept all of their collateral and lend them plenty of money. More than enough collateral was there to stem the deposit run. But the Fed did not do that, as far as I can determine. They may have lent some, but they didn't lend enough.
Well, why do you think that was? I mean, what were they waiting for? Because, you know, that delay and the delay in using the new lending facility, which is not a bad facility, I don't have any problem with it, but all that, Hal, put them back into the moral hazard business through the FDIC, which has caused, you know, a huge political clamor, as well as probably digging a deeper hole.
You know, it's almost like the Fed did its own goal here, you know, and they had to recover from it. And as you point out, the first thing that they did was they got very nervous about all this, so they had to start guaranteeing uninsured depositors. That raised the whole issue of too big to fail, you know, moral hazard. And, you know, then we have my former colleague Elizabeth Warren calling for more capital. There's a failure in regulation, actually not a capital issue. This was a classic liquidity crisis, okay? The Fed you wanted JP Morgan to be back here. I think actually, Larry, he might have done a better job on this, because the Fed was created to do this. 1907, they said, we can't rely on JP Morgan anymore. We got to have an institution to do this, right? So that's why the Fed was created, not monetary policy. It was created for this, okay? And if I were at the Fed, I would have been, you know, rolling out bazookas, not muskets, okay? Saying, I'm ready to lend to this bank, okay? They got plenty of collateral. By the way, the Fed lent before without collateral if it's absolutely necessary. This was great collateral, and mortgage-backed agency securities, treasury securities. Okay. Answer to your question, why they didn't do this, I don't know.
What do you think of the latest now? These banks, whatever, 10, 12 banks, putting up $30 billion. I think it's mostly going to come out of excess reserves to try to refill some of the lost uninsured deposits. I mean, this just, I understand what it's doing, and it's, I guess, a private sector action. It has a certain JP Morgan feel to it, but it seems, you know, it just seems like very small and very insignificant, and I don't really understand it. I don't really understand the point of it. And judging from the stock market today, it hasn't persuaded anybody about anything.
So the background of this, as far as I can determine, last week, First Republic borrowed up to about $109 billion, okay, from the discount window. At least they were awake enough to do that. But this is $30 billion, okay? So, you know, when you compare the magnitude here, and the problem, you know, is not going away, I would congratulate these banks for trying to do something. That's good. But again, where's the Fed bazooka? Where is the announcement, okay, that if this doesn't work, we're still there, okay? That's the kind of statement, okay, that will stem this contagion.
Yeah, you need a really powerful shot. You know, apart from the bank story, the liquidity story in the bank, I think you've got a very important related supervisory breakdown. Now, I don't know about the California banking department, but it just seems like Mary Daly at the San Francisco Fed wasn't on it. They had somebody looking after it. That person was pulled off to look at another institution called Silver Lake. But by and large, they didn't know, or if they knew, they weren't telling anybody right up until last weekend. And it seems to me the supervisory issue, with bank examiners and so forth, is really a crucial part of the failure of this story.
Totally agree. And it's the first stop for the communication. The examiners have to understand there's a problem. They communicate that back to San Francisco Fed and so forth. I listened to Secretary Yellen's testimony yesterday, I think, where she said she found out about this on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the day before they failed on Friday morning. Okay, so this should have been a matter for Powell, Yellen, et al. Okay, way before Thursday. Okay, so they could discuss what to do about this, roll out this new facility in advance if that's what they wanted to do. Okay, but so they were late getting there. I think that's, as you point out, a failure of communication, which starts with the examiner at the bank.
I mean, just from your vantage point, and you've been through these crises, and you're a very distinguished Harvard professor and so forth, I don't think it looks like 2008, Hal Scott. I could be wrong. Contagion is something very difficult to figure out. It comes when you least expect it. It's like a terrible virus. But I think that it's not 2008. What do you think?
I think the same thing, Larry, but I'm not sure. As you point out, contagion is an irrational phenomenon, okay? And once it gets going, people say, better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, they're putting their money in money market funds now. That's kind of ironic because the money market funds had a big problem both in 2008 and COVID. They're government funds, though. Okay, so you can argue that the government funds now, the money market funds, are safer than the banks. I don't think it's 2008, but I think prudence suggests that the Fed really make a big statement here. Powell should be on TV. We'll do what it takes. The Mario Draghi approach in the great financial crisis.
And you know what else, Hal? I must say, somebody else should be on TV. His name is Joe Biden. He's got to show leadership.
You can arrange that. That's above my pay grade.
Yes, I know. I have a direct line. I have a direct line to him. The trouble is the phone ain't working lately. Anyway, Hal Scott, Harvard University, thank you very much.